Have you ever wondered what the heck is going on with my cycle? If you've ever wondered, why are my periods so heavy? Why are my periods missing? Why do I have such horrible cramps? All of these things have to do with your overall health. And one of the things that's really cool and that we're going to talk about today is that the period, your cycle, has actually become known as your fifth vital sign. This is super cool because what we've basically discovered, and this is backed by gynecologists and obstetricians, in that your menstrual cycle can actually be an indicator of how healthy your overall body is. Hi, I'm Ashlyn Korchek. I'm a PCOS mama and I am a board certified physician assistant, and I'm really excited to talk to you about this today because when we can understand what our cycle is telling us about our health, then we can take that information and we can look at what might be going on. We can get warning signs before before our health worsens, and we can start to actually get down to that root cause and look at what is it that we can fix. So as a country or as a nation, as a world of women, we have become accustomed to things in our cycle that aren't necessarily normal. We assume that PMS is normal. We assume that having cramps is normal, that hormonal headaches following our cycle or somehow coming at certain times of our cycle is normal. And we have gone to physicians and asked for methods of kind of reducing these symptoms, and we've been offered birth control. And so one of the things that's kind of a head scratcher to me is that on one hand, we're recognizing this as a vital sign, something that's telling us how our health is doing. And on the other hand, we are suppressing it because we don't want to hear what it has to say. And part of that's because we don't actually know what to do about it. So when it comes to our fertility, when it comes to our cycle as a whole, listening to the cues that it's giving us is really important in order to create a conceivable cycle. Now, whether or not you are concerned about getting pregnant, whether or not you are trying to get pregnant or want to get pregnant or do not want to get pregnant, having a healthy conceivable cycle is a sign of good health. And so, although you can take measures to not get pregnant, we don't want to have suboptimal health in order to avoid pregnancy. So that's a whole separate topic. What we want to talk about today is how do we actually create a cycle that is healthy and able to conceive if that is what we want. So the first step is really to look at the main event of your cycle. Although your period is what gets all of the attention because it's something that's very easy to track, it's something that's very noticeable, and for many women, it's very disruptive in your life. And the reason it's disruptive is probably because some of the symptoms coming along with it are not exactly normal and not the way they should be in a perfectly healthy cycle. So the first thing we want to look at is move away from the period part and actually to the main event of your cycle, which is ovulation. In order to have a true cycle, ovulation has to occur. Now you can have bleeding without having a true cycle. And the way that happens is that the uterine lining gets thick enough and eventually it sheds, or you're on some sort of hormonal birth control that actually just signals your body to do that even though it suppressed ovulation. So the first step in order to do that is to track your cycle. Now you can do this through basal body temperature. You can get a device like OvuSense where you're able to actually insert a probe that will check your temperature throughout the night so that you don't have to, and it syncs with your app and it's super fancy, and you don't have to go about actually tracking your cycle with temperature charting and all of that, because that can be kind of annoying. But the first step is to determine whether or not you are ovulating. And ovulation predictor kits are not great for that with PCOS because they actually measure a hormone that can be falsely elevated. And so we get a lot of false positives with that. So because our hormones are out of whack, temperature is going to be the best way for women with PCOS to monitor their cycle. The most easy and least hassle way is with something like OvuSense. The next thing that we want to do is determine, so we determined whether or not you're ovulating. The next step is going to be to dig a little bit deeper as into why. So this is going to occur where you actually go through and you order some labs. You correlate those labs with the symptoms that you're experiencing or not experiencing. And this is where it's really important to work with someone who is familiar with regular cycles and what your cycle's kind of language is and what it's telling us about what's going on with your health and your fertility and your body's just overall ability to have a conceivable cycle. The reason we say conceivable cycle is because your body is programmed to know if it's in a place where it could handle a pregnancy, where it would be a good idea for you to get pregnant. And as long as you're in childbearing ages, your body, if it's in good health, should think that it's ready to get pregnant. If it's not in good health, it's going to suppress your ability to conceive. And so that can be due to nutrition, it can be due to health issues, it can be due to stress and environmental things, perceived stress. These are all things that can make your body's ability or desire to conceive decrease. Now, again, whether or not your desire is to conceive, these are things that are indicators of your health being compromised. And then the third and final thing that you would want to do is to actually begin to repair those root causes that are leading to the hormone imbalance of PCOS, that are leading to the period problems, and that are keeping you from having a conceivable cycle. And so those are going to be, of course, making sure that you are nourishing your hormones to the best of your abilities. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just are you moving in the direction of nourishing more and more? Also, are you managing and protecting yourself from stressors? Your body can have a lot of things that it perceives as stress that you may not even realize are stress, and those can raise your cortisol levels and really that's kind of at the base of the hormone period, and so then it just kind of keeps causing havoc right on up to the tippy top of where we see our PCOS hormones. And then also using movement to help reduce anxiety, to help strengthen and reduce our insulin effect that we can have, and ultimately that can movement can also help to balance our hormones and relieve the period problems and create a more conceivable cycle. But the ways that we do this really are dictated by what those root causes that we find in the labs, the symptoms, and really reading what's going on with your cycle. So as I leave you with that thought for today, what I want you to take away is that our body is giving us this amazing feedback, okay? It's giving us this amazing feedback that each month we should have a cycle that is not overly heavy, that's not overly painful, that comes regularly, that doesn't create us, that doesn't turn us into some sad, emotional roller coaster wreck of happy, crying, angry, that just kind of feels out of control. Those type of emotions stem from a hormone imbalance. Now, we all have those as humans. We're not robots. But that extreme that we get around our cycle is really kind of this pendulum of overswinging pendulum of emotions that we're getting is a lot to do with a hormone imbalance. And as we see our hormones come back into balance, we just become a little bit more even keel across the board, both in our energy, our appetite, our sleep, our mood. All of those things become less affected. Now, as women, we are cyclical. We have days of more energy, days of less energy. And as we tap into those, we understand, I can't expect as much of myself today because my body's doing something else today. And that's okay. But overall, we shouldn't have these just I become a different person as I approach my period. And I know we've all experienced that because we've all had a bad period. But what I want to leave you with is to really value that feedback that your body is giving you, and then to seek the help that you need to determine what it is that you can do to help promote and repair a conceivable cycle, so that you can care for the warning signs that your body is giving you about needing to take care and notice what's going on with your health. So with that, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the comments below. One of the best places to get started with the nutrition is I have my PCOS fertility guide, meal guide, and it walks you through step by step really what to be eating. It gives you I think it's a 3-day meal plan that goes with it and really helps walk you through, but more than just giving you some recipes, it walks you through why certain foods are going to be more helpful along your way to repairing your hormones, repairing your fertility, and ultimately creating those conceivable cycles. So I will pop that link into the discussion as well. And until next time, I hope you have a great day.